Okay.
Hi friends! Made it! Hello, it's so great to see everyone. How are you?
Good. Hi.
Hi! Welcome to Cooking with Carl and Baking with Becca. Today we are baking with me.
Yep, date squares.
Date squares.
And dates are not cheap, eh? We got some
Medjool
good
dates.
ones, yeah.
We did. We got fancy dancy dates, medjool dates. Unfortunately for this recipe, it is the most expensive thing that you will purchase.
Yeah.
And as Carl said, they are not as cheap as you would think. This small package of almost 300 grams
$10.
was $10. So
I don't know if you can find a better deal. You may be able to.
you may be able to, but if anybody knows of any places to get deals on dates, we want to know about it.
I was reading about them. They're super fruit. It's lots of fiber, lots of vitamins. It's a natural sweetener.
Yes,
right?
it is, absolutely. Lots of sugar.
Yeah,
Lots of
that's
sugar
true.
in a date. Let's talk about the sugar in the date here
boy.
for just a second. For 2 to 3 dates, there's 140 calories and 33 grams
2 dates. Oh,
of sugar.
so it's like a can of pop for 2 dates.
A can of pop. Oh, it's beyond a can of pop. It's like a can of pop and a candy bar.
Wow.
So dates are sugary. It's fructose, but
Yeah.
still,
It's a natural sugar.
it's a natural sugar. So if you're having date squares, you are not on a diet. But we are not all about diet here. We work hard for our calories here, so we're okay with not being diet.
Yeah.
Does anybody here make date squares on the regular?
No.
No.
No. Oh, I'm surprised.
Too sweet.
Too sweet.
They are very sweet.
Yeah, you see, we're umami people. That's why we like a little bit of salt with our stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the list first of our recipe list. I'm going to do the filling ingredients. Carl will read the crisp. So let's get started here. The first thing that we need for the filling ingredients is 2.5 cups or 425 grams, if you're being specific,
Yep.
of medjool dates.
We're a bit short.
We're a bit short, but we're going to do our best because they are super sugary, as Stella pointed out.
Yeah.
They need to be pitted and chopped.
Yeah, so we got pitted. We could have got chopped, but then I'd have nothing to do.
So we didn't
Yeah.
get chopped because we need to chop. The next thing we need is a cup of water, so that's good. We need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, or as per Kathy, you can use some orange peel, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar,
Yeah,
and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And that's for your filling.
that's the filling.
That's the filling. Okay, Carl, tell us about the topping.
Crisp, we got quick cooking oats,
Yes.
unbleached all-purpose flour. We're just gonna use what we have. We got regular bleached flour. Let's see.
Make it work.
See what happens.
That's what we do here.
More brown sugar.
Yeah.
3/4 cup. Half a quarter teaspoon baking powder
Yeah.
and semi-salted butter. Oh, I don't know if I got butter.
Let's see if we've got butter. Well, we need to have butter for the recipe. I'm sure we're going to be able to figure something out for butter if we don't have it
How
right
much
off the
butter?
bat. It has to be 3/4 of a cup, Carl.
Maybe. We might
We're buttery people. Is the oven preheating?
It is.
Oh my God, this guy's on the money today, friends. So your oven should be preheating for about 15 minutes to 350 degrees. Maybe your oven is faster than our oven. Our oven is a super slow poke, isn't it,
A
Carl?
little bit.
A little bit,
You
not
think
even a
this
little
is
bit. It's like a lot of it.
3/4 cup?
Yeah, well, no. I think that's more like a 1/4 cup.
Yeah, well, see, that's all we got. I knew I forgot something.
All right, well, we'll just make this work again. In the spirit of making it work, if you are doing this on your own, more butter is better.
Yeah.
So use more butter.
Yeah.
Carl, can we put a pot on, or have you already got one?
For water?
So we need a pot on. We need to start chopping the dates as well. So we'll open this up. Here we go. So we're starting with these medjool dates. Now these medjool dates are huge. So you can see the size of the medjool dates. Like, look at the size of that. Pretty big and pretty unctuous. Anybody eat medjool dates on the regular?
Those are big,
No.
eh?
No, they're like giant raisins, but
Yeah,
not.
they're delicious.
Right? Oh yes. So what do you use your medjool dates with? Do you just eat them as they are?
When I have some tea, I like to have a date, maybe instead of sugar.
Ooh,
I
That's
don't put it in the tea, but I eat it on the side.
That's awesome. That's such a smart thing to do. So Carl's going ahead to chop. I'm just rolling these all over here.
boy.
So he's going to chop this up.
This is a raisin party, eh?
Look at that. It is a raisin party. And while he's chopping it up, I'm going to go ahead and get a bowl out to get going on the dry ingredients. So he has to chop up all of these. So again, that's 454 grams or 1 cup of loosely packed dates.
Yeah, chopping's well.
Now the chopping has to be pretty fine on these
Fine?
for him today. Yes, it has to be fine, Carl, only because we don't have as many as we would like to have.
Yeah, that's true.
Unfortunately.
Just spread them around.
Yeah, spread them around. You could actually put them into there after. We might as well reuse what we've got.
Clever.
And in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is grab my measuring cup, and the first thing that I have to do with my dry ingredients, as Carl chops up, is grab 1 cup and 3/4 of quick cooking oats. So our quick oats are over here, and they're really easy to find in the grocery store. Super easy and super inexpensive, which is awesome. Does anybody have a favorite brand of oats or uses oats in a lot of other things?
It's a good grain.
It is. I know sometimes, I don't think Kathy's on here today. I know Kathy was saying that she uses oats in like things like chocolate chip cookies and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know maybe some people do that as well.
What does that help with?
I think just bite.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, like in terms of oats? Why would you add oats to a recipe for yourselves personally if you were going to add them there, and now it's in the picture?
Texture?
Texture.
I think it's texture.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. So there's 1 3/4 cup of oats going into, as Carl is chopping away.
That's going to give it the crunch, right?
The crunchy crunch, yes indeed. Now I'm going to turn this a little, maybe it can get both of our things.
Oh.
Carl,
It's
how am I
looking-
doing?
This doesn't look too appetizing.
All right, so how do I?
Good. Perfect.
So here's my 1 3/4 cup of oats happening on the top, which is really, really good. Now once I do that, the next thing I want to do is combine the flour and the brown sugar with that. So let's find how much flour. So we need a cup of unbleached flour. We are using all-purpose flour. Unbleached, again, is nicer.
Is that color? Is that what it's going to affect, being unbleached?
To be honest, let's ask the bakers in the group. Guys, does anybody know what the difference between bleached and unbleached is? Other than the bleaching?
Yeah.
What does the bleaching do?
Well, it just makes it whiter, actually.
Yeah.
And they say it's healthier if it's unbleached because you have less chemical.
Ah,
You know, for baking purposes, they're virtually identical.
Okay.
perfect. Thank you
So
for
that's
that.
good. You know, I had a feeling we'd be all right with
Yeah,
that.
so thank goodness we're safe with the unbleached. I was worried, but we are good to go.
Yeah.
Here we are, going to push that off to the side. The next thing that we need is 3/4 cup of brown sugar.
Okay.
So we're going to pack that in. Everybody knows that when you use brown sugar, you should pack it, only because more brown sugar is better. Right? Just what you need on top of a super sweet date is
I
a
thought
ton of brown sugar.
We're sweet enough.
Are we sweet enough?
Not today.
Not today, we're not, Carl, so I hope you're ready.
This is kind of just turning into a mush.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Well,
Yeah.
that's okay. It's got to turn into a mush a little bit, right? And when
Yeah.
we wet it, it's probably going to be even more of a mush. So what have people gotten up to this week? Anybody doing anything exciting or interesting?
Garden work.
Garden work. Oh, yeah. How's your garden going? Are you putting it to bed?
I'm putting it to bed. We reseeded the lawn.
Oh, you finished.
Oh, that's right. You were doing
Yeah,
that,
you've been
hey?
busy.
How did it go? Are you exhausted?
Pretty much.
I was going to say, like, that's insanity.
Take a rest day.
All right. So I've packed in the brown sugar, so the brown sugar goes in next. There it is, like a little sandcastle in the top.
I love that.
I know, it's so funny. Brown sugar cracks me up every time. Every time. And now Carl is stabbing the brown sugar
I
with
was
his
going to
giant
draw a
knife.
little happy face.
Oh, a happy face.
It didn't work.
It was a very good effort, Carl. It was a very, very good effort. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do, now that we've got these ingredients in there, is actually we're going to add in the baking powder. So I'm just going to grab that.
This one.
Why, thank you.
Our funny label.
So our funny labeled baking powder. So our baking powder actually has to be a 1/4 teaspoon. So let me find our 1/4 teaspoon. 1/2, 1/4. There we are. The teeny tiny, eeny meeny teaspoon. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that and put it in as well. Here we are. And I'm just going to make sure I'm leveling that off. Again, with baking, we all know this as bakers.
Yeah.
Everything has to be pretty specific, with the exception of the flavor enhancers like salt. And occasionally you can get away with putting in a little extra sugar, but not too much extra sugar.
I mean, with the dates.
With the dates here, you don't need too much extra sugar. I mean, we've already added a lot, so there we are. So the baking powder is in there. Now what we're going to do is add the butters and stir to combine.
So I tried my best. You're going to just have to get your hands dirty there.
Well,
and
what I think
scrape
I'm
it
going
out.
to do is put it into the microwave and try to
Oh.
melt it a little bit so I can actually see how much I got. So I'm going to put it into the...
I think you will lose a bit though.
Will I?
I think it'll shrink. If we need some, I thought we had those little butter cups.
Yeah, let's see if we have little butter cups. It will probably go down because when it becomes liquefied, we're going to see that there isn't as much. But you just gotta make it work, right? So I'm gonna set this aside. I'll get rid of that right away because that's just
Yeah,
yucky.
you gotta save it all. That's all we got.
Oh, that's all we got in no little butter packs?
Oh, somebody tossed it.
You know what we could do? Do you have coconut oil?
Whoa.
Bring on the coconut oil.
We got mayonnaise.
No thanks. Hard pass on the mayo.
Oh, no.
Alright, let's see here.
We're gonna have to make it work.
Well, we'll make it work.
Yep.
Alright. We don't have coconut?
No.
Oh, I thought we did.
No, we're SOL folks.
Alright.
You have canola oil or almond oil?
We got sunflower oil.
Yeah, that would do.
You think it would work? A little bit, right? If you had to.
So we just need a little
Yeah,
bit
you
more.
can add a bit, maybe not quite to the full measurement, but
Yeah.
I
It'll
would
help,
add a
right?
bit of that.
Okay, so let's do
Appreciate the
that.
tip.
Thank you.
I was wondering if we could toss an oil in. I wouldn't use olive oil.
You could also add applesauce.
Oh.
Applesauce is a replacement for oil,
You know
for
what?
like, it's a good texture.
See, she's full of hot tips.
Yeah, so here's the hot tip today. So our hot tip today, we're gonna use your hot tip. We had another one, but we're gonna use that one. Hot tip. Say that again for me one more time with the oils and the applesauce.
Applesauce. Was
Yeah,
interesting.
a lot of books that talk about, like low cholesterol baking and so on, they substitute, like say half a cup of applesauce or some of the oil that's in a recipe,
Yeah,
or even for some of the eggs that are in recipes.
nice.
And I've done that, and it's a fairly good result. But the product comes out like a bit moister.
Yes.
That's not necessarily bad.
That's never a bad thing.
No, so I have done that myself.
Well, congratulations. Thank you for sharing your hot tip. Now we've got our hot tip for the day.
Oh, I forgot to hit record, folks. I'm sorry. Just say yes to this little thing. Yeah, we'll see what we can pull out of it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, very good. So here we go. Now what we're going to do is I will just...
What you got?
I'm
is
going
that
to
just
start
butter or
to,
you
here's
added
butter
oil?
and the oil. So I've added the oil in with the butter. And
Yeah.
what I'm going to do, actually, I should have gotten a fork because that's going to make it easier for cutting. Right now I'm just stirring and I'm going to cut this through. And what I'm going to do is just create that little crumble now with all this flour and butter and oil. So it's good. We've got a good amount of oil there, a good amount of butter. I'm just going to dump that right on the top and we will start to cut that through. What I will say is this, it's going to take a little while when you're not using conventional things. Doesn't always work out in a conventional way. So you can immediately see that everything is starting to ball up.
Wow.
So it all starts to ball up almost right away. So I am just going to go ahead. I may have to add a bit more. If I need to, I will. But I'm going to work it a little bit and see how we go.
So no water.
No water. The water's for the dates, actually, when you're done with that. We're going to add everything into a hot pot on the stove. Hot pot. All right, so I'm going ahead here and we've really, really cut this through. There we are.
Sugary mess.
It is a sugary mess, huh? But it's a good looking mess. Now this is still going. It doesn't feel very crummy yet.
Crummy.
Yeah, well, not crummy like bad, just crummy like crummy and grainy. So we're getting there. I need to cut it up more. So I'll maybe get a fork and really beat this through a bit more. So the smaller that you break the pieces, the better it crumbs up each time. So Carl's gonna go ahead and grab my fork. Thank you, Carl, you're amazing. Here we are, thank you. Fantastic. And I'm just gonna start mushing, just so that I break them up into finer pieces and we can figure this out. So already I can see.
By the way, Beck, I just want to clarify. The applesauce substitute for the oil, you would not do that in something that you want crisp, like this crumbly topping. It's more like in the body of a cake or something like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
In the batter, because obviously applesauce would only be like a mushy substance. Nothing would ever go crispy.
Is it adding moisture, kind of?
Yes, it replaces the moisture that's in the oil, like the oil is moist and the eggs are moist. So
it's a healthier alternative.
Yes, and you can even, instead of doing all replacing with applesauce, you could replace some with applesauce. But as I said, not in a crispy topping like this.
Of course.
Good to know. So
Thank you.
I got my dates chopped.
Dates are chopped, so the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get your cup of water on the stove
cup?
and boil it up.
Boil it up.
Boil it up.
Maybe a bigger pot, eh?
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff going in this pot.
Yes, you've got quite a lot of stuff going in the pot.
Big pot, big pot.
So here we are. We're almost done with this crisp. Really, it's coming together quite nicely, this crumble.
Kind of a quick one. Eh?
This is a quick one. Well, you see, date squares are always fairly simple. It's a good thing that you put together in advance, and then you've just got it on for later. You've just got it kind of on the lamb when you can pick it up later and grab it and go out the door or take it to a friend's house. And there we are. That looks pretty good and crumbly to me. Once I got my fork in there.
Taking dates to a date.
Taking dates to a date. That's smooth, Carl.
There you go.
Good luck with that. All right, so here we are. We've got this all set up here.
So I'm just gonna toss this in with the water.
Yeah, that goes in with the water. Then you're gonna need to add your lemon juice. And believe it or not, you have to add a little bit more sugar in there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Not a lot, but a bit, okay? A little bit of brown sugar. So for this, he's putting in what should be 454 grams or 1 cup of dates.
I think 300 something. Yeah.
349 grams, I believe it was in the package, which is pretty close. Then we're gonna add in to that the cup of water.
Yep, lemon juice.
2 tablespoons of lemon juice to lighten it.
Okay.
2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So let me find the tablespoons here. Do you have the tablespoons over there?
I took them.
Sweet, that's the best. Let me bring this over here. Hang on a
2
second.
tablespoons, eh?
Is that too close? Is that gonna get
Let's see.
hot? Can everyone see? Yeah, everyone can see. Carl will adjust it so we don't get too.
I just don't want to.
No, fair enough. Yeah, camera fire would be terrible. Terrible, terrible camera fire. Here we
So
go.
there was 1 and
2. Good. Then you need 2 tablespoons of the brown sugar.
Sure thing.
Yeah, is the next schmozzle. And once that's done, you're gonna add in, believe it or not, you're gonna add in the baking powder
Okay.
or the baking soda, not the baking powder.
It's just like a funny soup.
Yeah, it's a funny, weird soup, but not exactly a soup because it's gonna be more of a filling mixture.
Yeah, I guess breaking down the sugars. Right?
A half a teaspoon of baking soda.
Okay. Teaspoon. That always makes them.
Half of a teaspoon, my friend. So low key on that.
Yeah.
And then we will be set to go.
Okay.
And then that needs to boil. So you needs to actually come to a boil and then simmer for 5 minutes.
Oh, something happened with the baking soda.
Yeah, it breaks it down.
Went fizzy right away.
Fizzy right away, so you need to stir it apparently a lot with a wooden spoon. So let's see if he's got one. Yeah, I'm sure he's got one. Beautiful. So he's gonna stir that a lot. While he's stirring that, I'm gonna go ahead. You have to grease the pan. Yeah, so 5 minutes. Set the timer, sir.
Interesting. It got super fizzy.
Yep, that's what baking soda does. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grease the bottom because what we do in the end is make sure that nothing sticks to the bottom. You can also use liner or parchment paper. Everybody has a different method. Some people flour it, some people don't. Just depends on what you are up to. I'm gonna go ahead and use my hand because that's what I use. You feel free to use gloves if you wish or a spatula. I'm a pretty messy
Do you
Betsy.
like the butter over the cooking spray, like the canola?
You know what? I prefer butter to everything.
Oh, you got
That's just
oil
a
in
personal taste, but
Right.
I've got oil in there right now. So I forgot about our cooking spray. So I've just used regular oil in my hands like
You
the
like getting
old fashioned
your
way.
hands in, yeah.
I get my hands into everything. I'm a very tactile person.
Yeah.
Love using my hands. So here we are, all set up.
How long should I boil this? When it boils?
How long should you boil it for?
Yeah.
So just for a second, then it has
Just
to go
bring it-
down to simmer.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, then it has to go down to simmer. So nobody else here makes date squares on the regular. What kind of a square do you make if you're making a square at home?
Sometimes I just make a crisp, like I made rhubarb strawberry crisp this week.
Oh, yum.
Same,
That
same
sounds really
sort,
good.
same sort of topping though.
Yeah. So it's good. Like the topping is the same for almost all of these crispy type things, right? It's like butter, flour, sugar, oats, brown
Or
sugar.
the cake, you're making a cake with a streusel topping sometimes.
Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So as this is boiling now, the next thing that we can do, we can spread half the crisp in the baking dish and press firmly. So I'm gonna go ahead and spread half the crisp. Now, half the crisp for me, I'm gonna take it in handfuls and I'm gonna go ahead. I don't know if we're gonna have enough to do this whole thing, Carl, but
It's funny, our pan selection here.
our pan selection is tough because it's not like
It's industrial size stuff that we have.
I know, we gotta use our kitchen stuff,
Yeah.
right? So what I might do is as I'm pressing down firmly, you can see like I'm patting it down as I put it in.
Oh, I'm boiling already.
Okay, go ahead and simmer.
Okay, turn it
You're
down.
boiling, you can simmer. So I'm pressing that down. That's almost half there. I think I can probably go here,
This smells great.
here. That's probably as far as I want to go there. So I'll just bring this over a bit. There, I think that's probably as far as I can go in terms of keeping that together.
Oh, that looks good.
Looks pretty good, right? So that's our bottom layer. Press down firmly into the bottom. It is kind of therapeutic just to press down and make sure that it's all in there. Look at that, mushed right in, friends.
And how thick?
It's not very thick, it's like a quarter of an inch, right? So it's half of your, yeah, maybe even an eighth, because exactly, it's half of it. And then the rest goes on the
On
top.
the top, okay, I was wondering what you were
Yeah,
saying.
so we're gonna pour that on the top.
So it's like an oat date sandwich.
Yep, so after this, we have to bake this in the oven for 55 minutes,
Oh,
Carl.
boy.
So it's a long, slow bake, but it's gonna be delicious in the end, right? So
Yeah.
let's see how this is looking. Let's come back over here and see how this mixture is looking as Carl stirs it. Look at that. So you can see that that baking soda has really gone into effect.
It's like
in here.
froth in a weird way, but it smells terrific.
It smells. Smell it, but it smells good. There it is. All right, through the mask, it's hard for me to smell. I'm like, I can't smell it. I had to take my nose out. Don't tell anyone. Secret nose out, only for a second.
Yeah.
But it does, it smells really good and caramelly and almost Christmassy. For me, I always,
It's a homey kind of smell.
yeah, we have like dates and marzipan and almonds in it at Christmas time.
Well, that's it.
That's what we have, like, that's one of our little treats at Christmas time, so that's what reminds me of Christmas when I smell this.
So you want it just to simmer?
Yeah, it just has to be constantly stirred so it doesn't burn because of the level of sugar
I see,
content.
yeah.
Poor Carl. I'm
That's
like,
all right.
stir, stir, stir.
Oh,
This has almost been 5 minutes now, I think.
remember all the chopping last week? This is not.
This is nothing
We had
compared to
so many
last.
vegetables.
We had a lot. That jambalaya week was wild.
Yeah.
Finally online now, friends. We did have an issue with our internet on Friday, so if you're interested in seeing jambalaya, it is up now.
Yeah.
Here we are. This is all mixed up here.
Big mix up.
Mix up. I think that's ready to go,
You think
Carl.
so?
I
Okay.
think so. So I'm going to come back on over here. So here we are coming back to the bowl area. All right, we'll just let that come back into the frame.
So how, you want me to scoop it?
Yep, it just has to get scooped.
This
So
is
Carl's gonna
quite
scoop
hot.
it. Yep, so Carl will scoop it and I will spread it.
Teamwork again.
Teamwork
Yeah.
makes the dream work.
Oh, this is nice, eh?
Mhm.
There we
There we
go.
go.
Making date squares together like real friends
Real
again.
friends, I know, and like we were real enemies before or
There's
something.
always a competition with you. I don't know why.
A competition, that's not for my doing, sir. I'm pretty low key, wouldn't
Yeah,
you
you
say,
are.
friends?
Yeah,
Well,
you
maybe
are.
not low key, but low key enough, no? Here we go.
So we're gonna have a bit. This will be perfect.
Yeah, this is, I think this is the right amount, right? So we'll just spread this out a little more.
That does smell great.
It smells wonderful.
So Becca, how sweet is that?
So it actually, Kath, we ended up putting in a quarter cup of, or no, not a quarter cup. Let me see how much. We put in 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar.
In
Into the
that's in-
topping.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, and then we put in 2 tablespoons in the actual
Yeah,
medjool.
but does it taste really sweet? I mean,
I haven't tasted it yet. We
Oh,
will though.
let you
That's a
know.
good,
Let's see.
yeah, Carl's gonna
just-
taste it right now.
they're usually way too sweet. I was thinking maybe some applesauce might, unsweetened applesauce might cut the sweetness.
It's not
That's
bad.
really smart,
It's-
Kath.
I
That's
like
another
that.
great hot
Yeah,
tip.
that is good.
Applesauce for sweet, for cutting the
So
sweetness.
apples, eh?
Apple
That's your
sweetening,
healthy alternative.
an oil replacement.
Is that
reduce the
Kathy?
sweetness.
How's your oven?
It's
You
doing
want-
great, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Remember,
I'm relearning how to cook.
it's different, right? The induction.
Oh, yeah.
Here we are.
I put the pot in with some water and took a clean hand and touched the bottom to see whether it's heating, and I almost burnt myself in a second. It's so quickly. But it's so controlled that when I put
That's
something
the
to
thing.
simmer, I could rely on it simmering.
Yeah, I'm so used to unruly kind of gas, and you gotta hover around it. But depends
this-
on. Yeah.
This is nice and steady temperature.
All right, so that's in, and in this goes now. Here we are. Gonna pour this on the top now. I'm gonna go back and forth on it. Now, you can only see, that's maybe not a good way to do it because then you can't see. So I'm just gonna go back and forth here. So I'm gonna go forward and back and forward and back. There we go. So now I can just do this.
It's tricky how you're doing it, because we're only using a bit of the real estate of the pan there.
We are only using a little bit of real estate, but that being said, actually we're managing it pretty well.
How's that?
Yep, so now I'm gonna press this down on the top.
So Becca,
Yes,
I was sorry, I was late, but the dates, they aren't dried out dates. They're
they
fresh.
aren't, no, they were fresh pitted visual dates.
Yeah, fancy.
So we
So
used the real ones.
I've
Now,
never used them. You just wash them and you have to remove the pit?
You just, no, these were already pitted
These are
for
pitted,
us.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
They had all sorts.
Maybe they're less sweet because they're not dried.
Yeah.
Could be.
Now I know that you can reconstitute dates for this as well, Kath. You're
Can you
absolutely
show-
right.
Can you show the cover again?
Yeah, absolutely. It's this was the one that was at Loblaws. Now I've seen them in a tray with saran wrap over. They're kind of hidden in the veggie fruit section. We had to ask somebody, but they had non-pitted, they had organic ones, they had pre-chopped, full dates, non-dried.
They
like,
did,
had
they have
everything.
a lot
I
of
couldn't
dates
believe
are-
I think I saw it in the fresco.
Yeah, they're
maybe
definitely a fresh go-to for sure.
It's- I mean, they're a good snack. It's just
They're wonderful. They're very high in sweetness. So if
And
you
fiber.
have one and in fiber, yeah, I love dates.
Yeah.
Can be your little treat for the day, you
it
know?
is a treat. I like the idea that someone had with having it with your tea.
It's
like
so
a date.
smart. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's your date squares, friends, and it's pretty hot. Like I can feel it from the mixture. We're gonna put it in the oven now for 55 minutes at 350 degrees and bake those, and then they will be ready to serve.
This is
Now,
very
you're
simple.
supposed to allow them, there we go, and it goes, you're supposed to allow them to actually sit for 4 hours afterwards to
4
kind of,
hours.
I guess, soak
A
up
likely
juices.
story.
Yeah. So you're supposed to let them sit. So this is like a big make ahead
This is-
project to
yeah.
make it sit. Carl's not gonna wait for 4 hours.
Oh
So I don't
my
know what they
gosh.
thought they were
No.
doing themselves. He's gonna wait the 55 minutes and then he'll be eating them. So I know you.
Yeah.
I know you very well at this point.
We didn't need this.
We didn't end up using the really cool rolling pin, but we will next
One
week.
day.
One day, I hope.
Yeah, so I don't know, we can't have everybody stick around. I mean, we'll show the finish.
Yeah, we will show the finished one, but yeah, for 55 minutes, we don't want to
On
sit here
YouTube.
staring at an oven. That would just be very boring.
But wow, that was a nice quick one. It's a bit refreshing from we've been taking on really big recipes.
We really have been taking on big recipes. Now, the next thing that we want to ask you right now, actually, is what would you like to do next week? Because next week is a cooking episode.
For
Is there
cooking.
something that somebody would like to try that you've seen that you want us to give a go?
Have you tried stuffed peppers?
We did that,
Yes.
we did that. I think
Okay.
we did.
Yeah, that was one of our very
It
first
was early
ones.
on. We never made a video on it, but
We definitely did stuffed
it's a
peppers.
good one. I mean, it's
Yeah.
your guys' call. We
Yeah.
can toss some ideas around. I'm okay doing it again. But oh yeah, we did it with the cheese on top.
We
and-
did,
And then
it
I
was
added the
so
cheese too
good.
early and it melted into it.
Oh, but that's okay.
Oh,
It's
you couldn't- you
delicious.
can't really screw 'em up.
You can't screw up a
Yeah.
stuffed pepper.
Yeah.
You cannot.
What should we do?
I don't know. Any other ideas, friends? Like that's a great idea. Stuffed peppers is awesome. Marlene, anything else that you have ideas for?
What about some kind of like a sheet pan meal? Where you
Ooh,
put everything on a sheet pan, like say sausages and onions and peppers, or
That's
I
a
don't know
great
what,
idea.
or chicken pieces and some potatoes and this and that. Like that's supposed to be easy to like, because it's going,
Absolutely. One-stop shop. Yeah. Sheet
That would
pan.
be-
Okay, and we'll think of some interesting sides.
Yeah. So if anybody has any suggestions for the sheet pan meal of what they'd like to see, whether it's chicken or beef or sausages or whatever, you can always shoot us an email. We'd love to hear about
Because
that.
I know we're putting everybody on the spot. It's hard
We
to think of
always
something
do.
when it's live, but
We
we
always
got a
do.
week. Well, that's a great start, and we can work with that.
We certainly can. So everyone, it's been such a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for coming this week.
Short one today.
It is a short and sweet, but we are so happy that you were here. We're so grateful to you for being here.
Thank you.
And please keep in mind that tomorrow we do have the students from University of Toronto from 2 to 4.
Is it
I will be
Jeopardy?
we're going to do Zumba tomorrow.
Oh,
So I'm
Zumba.
going to be doing Zumba teaching tomorrow. So we're going to be doing some dance moves tomorrow. So if you'd like to join us from 2 to 4, the email went out earlier this week. It went out on Monday because of Friday.
Yeah.
So check your email for the link, and I look forward to seeing a few of you there.
And check out our Jambalaya video.
Yeah, the
We
Jambalaya
posted
video is
it.
online.
Yeah, we posted it. It's in the email as well.
All right, friends.
Okay, thank you.
It was great to see you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Love you. See you later.